time once again to go racing.
It does not get any better than this.
The pressure is really on now.
Yes, it's pole position. Lights out and we're racing in PSGL.
The first lap has been absolute chaos.
What an overtake.
Oh no!
I've never seen anything like it.
Side by side again. This will be settled right at the end.
Everybody, and welcome along to PSGL Season 30, the PlayStation F2 tier. We head under the lights tonight for round number 12 of the season. It is, of course, Marina-based circuit for the Singapore Grand Prix, a definite test of endurance and skill tonight. My name is Jess Ball, and joining me in the commentary box, as per usual, we have got, of course, Mr. Owen Wyatt. How are you doing?
Hello Jess, hello viewers, and yes, definitely a test of endurance for everyone here tonight. Should be a good race, I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, indeed, and if last week's race was crazy enough, I think we're going to be in for another action-packed race tonight as well. Last week we were in Mexico, of course, and we saw Tom really satisfy himself at the top of the championship and really say a point really that he deserves to be at the top. He won his third race in a row, his fourth podium as well, and he leads the championship by 11 points. The first time in a while that someone other than Baraka is leading the championship standings. So Baraka needs to have a good race tonight. Tom just needs to keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah, Tom is doing everything right at the minute. I think Barak's sort of fallen off of the pecking order a little bit recently. He's still there, but hasn't been on the podium since Austria, and that was round 6 just of the season. Obviously 4 in a row now for Tom, so you know the worry has got to be there a little bit now for Barak, knowing that the results really do need to start coming soon, because his early season isn't going to be able to carry him all the way to the title. So we'll see if he can fight back tonight. 11 points, a big gap. I think I said last week, if Tom gets a good result here tonight, you could almost put him down as a favourite to win the thing now. And I suppose we'll see how that goes.
Well, it is a night race, and remember when we were at Jeddah last time, he only scored 1 point, so let's hope he would have a better result than where he was at Jeddah a few rounds ago. So Tom leads the way on 92 points, as we were saying. Barak in second on 81. Then we got Devin, a 20-point swing between the top two, in third. Still in third, even though after scoring no points last week, he really had a poor showing in Mexico. CC Brain in fourth position, scoring some decent points. Jack is on 48 points in sixth position. And we got Dino, Louis, Andrea, who's back tonight. We've got Nicolo, we've got Bolan, Legend, Kazizzle, Ricky, Cameron Downs after his second podium in a row. He's on good form as well, and he could upset the pack tonight too. And we got Matteo in 17th position on 16 points. Kryptonite again did not score any points last week in 14th position. He's looking to come back on a poor showing in the last few rounds. And we got Azzy, who DNF'd last week. Then we've got Cohen, Steph, Alexis, Frankie bringing up the rear there as well. Only 19 drivers tonight, of course. Singapore, first using Formula 1 back in 2008. It was the inaugural night race on the Formula 1 calendar, actually, before obviously Bahrain and Abu Dhabi became night races. And it's definitely provided some history, including some controversy. Let's hope we don't have some controversy tonight, but it's also a track, especially in F2, where it has rained quite a lot. Let's hope we don't see the same tonight. We just want it to be dry for the whole race, hopefully.
Yeah, I don't really know why it rains here so much in the F1 game. It's dry for now, of course, but I'm sure the drivers may well have done a bit more practice actually for the rain, sort of in anticipation, but we'll see if it comes tonight. If it doesn't come tonight, we will see that the tyres will be quite difficult, I think. We sort of tend to see these soft tyres overheat quite early into the race. So those who can keep their tyres in the early stages will be rewarded very much with a good result tonight. The alternate strategy could be interesting as well, with the safety cars, possibly a higher chance because of the potential for accidents and the walls everywhere. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how all of it goes tonight. It's a very unpredictable sort of setup, actually.
And I wonder if a few people, if it is a dry session, will go for the alternate strategy a bit more and use the softs early on just to get a bit of a feel, and then go on to the mediums towards the end. And if we don't see the mediums at all in qualifying, that might strongly suggest we could be on for a wet one. So at the moment, no one's on the mediums, because usually we see that at the start of qualifying. So hopefully our worries are not true, that we could have a wet session, but we all see. We got Louis, who is purple in sector 1 right now in the Alfa Romeo. He wasn't here last week. He's going past one of my favourite corners of the circuit as well, the Singapore Sling, for his turn 10 and turn 11 as well. Very tricky to get right as you go heading into the bridge as well. We've seen a few accidents in both in real life and in league racing under this bridge as well. So hopefully we won't see the same tonight for Louis as well. Louis is currently sitting, like we're saying, in 8th in the standings. And last time we saw him, he had quite a decent result. He's purple in sector 2 as well. But as he didn't have the best of laps, and Andrea has just gone faster by a second, as Louis has unfortunately invalidated his run. So he won't be improving. But Bolin is on a run now in the final corner. What can he do? He's invalidated as well.
You'll have noticed that every single driver has either invalidated their lap or deliberately slowed down. They are obviously doing this on purpose, because you don't really want to be starting on this tyre. So I really wouldn't be at all surprised to see 0 competitive laps in this early stages, unless Tom fancies putting one on, but of course he doesn't. He will slow it right down up to the line. So these are absolutely not representative in the slightest. We're basically watching these guys do practice runs just to waste time, get used to the track, because none of this is competitive so far. If someone wants to grab a glory pole, though, it's an open net for them.
Yeah, so we saw last Thursday when I commentated on the PC side, someone went for the glory run and was the only driver who actually qualified on the softs. Everyone else pretty much qualified on the mediums, and let's just say for them it didn't go very well. They didn't ending up winning the race. They dropped way down to near the back of the field. But we're seeing more times being said. I wonder if Steph is going to go for a glory run here tonight. He has not. He is backed off a little bit as well. Matteo is backed off. Yeah, it is definitely a common theme at the moment. I wonder if most people will try and lift off, probably on one of the high-speed sections of the circuit, because it'll be hard to lift off in the slower speed corners. So particularly on the straight is where we're probably going to see people lift off if we can as well. But yeah, it is a good time for people to get their practice in as well. A few things to mention as well about the entry to turn 5 as well. That is also a scene of quite a few overtaking manoeuvres, where we see the run up to turn 6 and 7. That is the DRS zone that people can goody overtake there as well. Turn 8 as well, we've seen people go side by side after turn 7, so I think we could see more overtakes there tonight as well. Everywhere else as well, people could be very brave, maybe through the bridge, but probably that won't work potentially as well, as Matteo goes past that as well. Didn't take that very nicely indeed at the moment, but like we were saying, don't expect lap times to be competitive until midway towards the end of the session, and I think maybe 1:34s if we're lucky, but we're starting to see more lap times on the mediums now, so luckily I think it will be a dry session, because otherwise everyone will just be on the softs.
So CC Brian, he's coming through as well. This will be another time in the 35s or 36s. Like I say, he's just sort of getting his eye in, really, isn't he, at the moment? Everyone else is either pitting or Mateo's on a lap, but he'll pit as well. So really, it's going to be about the last sort of 3 or 4 minutes of the session when people probably go for runs. Although I'm seeing Bolin has just gone out on his mediums early, so he may actually fancy doing his run now. I'm surprised he's gone out this early. I wonder who else will do so. Andrea is doing that too. But yeah, okay, that's a tactic we'll see perhaps a little bit from some people, as Andrea was by far actually the furthest out there on the island, so we'll need to keep our eye on how he does. But I'm surprised that we're on mediums this early.
Yes, one thing to mention about the tyres, and people may be thinking, why are people sandbagging as well? The tyre temp around this track is quite difficult. Even though on the game it said it can last 7-9 laps, realistically, in terms of optimum pace, it only lasts 4-5 laps before people will be going into the pit. So that is why you don't want to be on the softs at all at the start, because otherwise you're going to be in a little bit of a pickle. And that's why probably for the first time this season we could see people go for the hard compounded tyres, even though the hard is about 2.481 seconds slower than the other two tyres, which is not ideal. But Andrea will be the first person to set their lap times on the mediums. We've got more people choosing mediums. We've got Cohen, we've got Tom, we've got Bolin obviously on a lap at the moment. Andrea, Louis has decided to go on the mediums as well, so it's quite common, but there will be a few people going on medium runs towards the end of the session. Not now, because don't forget, they only have one medium run, so they've got to make it count. And I can see the way Andrea's warming up his tyres. He wants to get this run perfectly, because for these guys, you don't get the same opportunity to the soft run. You get one chance on the mediums. That's it. If you bottle this run, then you're not going to really get a fast time unless you go on a set of scrubs out the mediums for your final run. But we will see. Andrea goes through towards turn 4 and 5 now as well. The long straight coming up here as well. We'll see what he's set to one time and see if he's competitive compared to everybody else. And I think it's a 26.2, only 7/100ths quicker than his previous best there. But the game is showing purple set to 1. Probably lying, but you never know. It could be. We'll see if he's faster than his soft time.
Should be quicker. I mean, he's pushing this time compared to last time. I think he slowed it right down in the last corner then. So even if it doesn't look like it's massively up on the first two sectors, the third sector is where the time should be found. A lot of these people, like I say, are out there on mediums quite early, so I guess they're happy to do more than one run on them. They do last a lot longer than softs do around here, so I suppose the second lap, the tire aren't going to have dropped up by much. So you'll expect to see some improvement as Andrea comes through into the third sector and backs off. So yeah, we'll go for at least one more try on the tyres. Not take too much life out while he is slow. Bolin as well has invalidated a time. And who else is actually on a lap? Cohen has just started one on his mediums. But yeah, even now, they're not showing us their pace just yet. They're keeping us on edge. Andrea will go again. And we'll see another attempt. But Cohen then furthest on a lap on the mediums. There are some on the softs still. We have got Kryptonite and we've got Frankie. Frankie, shockingly, is invalidated. And Kryptonite is shockingly slow. So yeah, they're just not giving us any times at the minute. I mean, I'm not expecting him to either. Bolin's even coming back into the pits. He's not going to go for a second try. Unlike Andrea, Cohen down on his first sector again. Expect that for sort of the first two sectors on these medium runs. It's always the third sector where they tend to slow it down. Andrea still going too, although the ARS is a little bit low, so he might be a bit wary of that. And a big slide for Cohen on the exit as he saw his teammate. Probably wouldn't have been that much of a distraction, but he wouldn't have wanted to lose it that badly there. And how's this middle sector? Looks okay. Same with Barack, who's according to the game done a purple middle sector actually through there. And Andrea, let's see, up in his first sector, similar pace in the middle sector. And will this be the first competitive time of the session for Cohen? It all rests on his shoulders, this, as he comes through. And it's going to be invalid and straight into the pits. He really is. He's played us like a damn fiddle. How about Barack? Crosses the line, does go fastest. So that is a time, at least. Here comes Andrea. Will not beat... Oh, he will actually. He will beat... Yeah, so there we go. The Haas just about beats the Mercedes by a couple of hundreds. It looks a bit close to the middle sector. I didn't think he'd quite be able to find it in the last, but he did indeed. So good stuff, that. Nicolo's also out there on mediums, I tell you as well. But I'd say that's 3 times now. Tom also up there. So we've got 3 competitive times so far, I can say.
And it took for around about 4 minutes to get those times, which is better than nothing. I think that's where we get to see people really start to push now. So it's Andrea on top, Tom in second, Barack in third, and Cohen in fourth. Everybody else either's backed off or has invalidated and will have to go for one final run. And every single driver that's out at the moment is on the medium tyres. Jack unfortunately has retired from the session, so has Cameron, so his continued awesome qualifying form from the last few weeks, unfortunately, it's not going to help him today, but at least he can avoid the carnage coming up right now as well. We'll see who's the furthest on a medium run. I think it may be Azzy, or it might be Matteo actually. Matteo goes up to the line, 1:35.0, so time's going very close, and the Ferrari's doing a lot better than his teammate, of course. I think Louis setting a purple middle sector as well, so yeah, could we see the first man into the 134s? I think we can. I think they just want to be sure they don't qualify on these soft tyres, I think, at the moment. They've got a bit of traffic in under this tunnel section here as well, so hopefully people can move out the way, as that was a bit difficult for Louis to negotiate there. I think that was a Williams behind him at the moment, weaving his tyres to go on his flying lap. But Louis up to the line and he goes. 1:35.3 puts him into P5. So that is it for now. Addy up to the line, 1:35.3 as well. So similar lap times for the Haas and the Williams at the moment. We'll see if Frankie can do any better as he just starts his lap.
The reason we're seeing absolutely no one on these softs is that, unfortunately, there is rain coming in the race. About 30 minutes in, I had a look at the chat. I sort of spoiled it for myself. But I thought it was weird that they're all sitting on mediums and none of them are going softs, but that explains it. Because softs wouldn't go 30 minutes. Mediums might go 30 minutes. Probably will go 30 minutes. So that explains that then. It's about which one of these guys gets on pole, of course, and what setups are they running, because the wing levels are already pretty much at the maximum anyway, so you're not going to be messed about with that too much for wet conditions, but it's the other stuff in your setup which can seriously slow you down in quali, which you'll be changing here. Because sometimes you can get away with a little bit of a wing change, but when there's nothing to change, you've got to find something else. So you could see some sort of mixed up grid here today, and then in turn a mixed up race. Only 1 minute and 10 seconds to go, and the top three are all in the pits. That says a lot, really, about how we're going. Barak is going fast, though, in the middle sector. So we still want to get on pole position. As we see Nicolo slow come through the last section. Kazizel is on an invalid lap. And Frankie is coming through. Looks a quick time, but won't be quick enough to go top. Baraka, however, will be. And it is into the 1 minute 34.7 range. Decent time that. Should hold, and you can see what I mean there with the tyres 3 laps old, still have the pace in them. The advantage of those, having some actual tyre life, which is nice. As we see CC Brain coming through the final corner, and he will replace his teammates in P9. Haas coming on the last corner of Azzy to start a lap. And Louis is in his way into the pit lane. A lot of these front runners are dropping out near the end of the session. There's still 7 people who haven't set a time yet. And Steph's on him, just crossed the line. Didn't set a time, that one. Ricky does go 5th, so there's a time on the board for him. Devin is, he's lost it. He's lost it completely. He's going to end up 14th. I don't know if he got the last corner run on purpose, or if he's got some sort of tactic going on there, but he is the slowest of the times on the board so far. Kazizel is on a very quick middle sector. This could be competitive near the front, so keep your eye out for this. There's a few more cars coming through. We've got Legend in the Williams first up, and the checker flag is out now, so these will be the last times. He goes 2nd fastest. We have Bolin, one of the other drivers with no time, not anymore, gone 7th fastest. Nicolo into the pits, and so it all pretty much lies on Kazizel's shoulders to try and take pole position. He does indeed. It was a good slap, and it was a very good middle sector, which is what has put him in the position to take that pole position. But like I say, there are still people out there, and with setups being perhaps a little bit different throughout the field, there could be a chance for some upsets. But there are people invalidating times, not quite getting them through. Everyone coming around the last corner at the minute is invalid. So unless Steph or someone could do something, but Steph's nearly a second off. So I think, unless Barak's found any more time, I think it's Kazizel on pole.
Yeah, I think so too at the moment, but I think CC Brain's going into the pit. Steph is coming up to the line as well at 1:36.1, which will put him in P16. I think I remember Ricky invalidating, and he's slowing down anyway, so he's not going to improve. So, and Baraka was slowing down as well. So yeah, that is it then for the Singapore Grand Prix qualifying. That's not where the points are handed out though. The points are handed out in the race, but it is Kazizzle that is on provisional pole position right now with Baraka in P2. Will he be able to get the win tonight? He needs some luck in his season. It hasn't gone his way. Ideally on pace, he should have been up there with the likes of Tom and Barat, but couldn't quite get to them. Will this be the time where he can show that he's quicker than them around this track? But we will see as we're waiting for the last few drivers to go into the pits. I think Ricky is going very slowly in the pits actually as well. But I have to say, a few people who I was a bit disappointed were, like you were saying, was Devon. Currently sitting third in the championship, down in 18th at the moment. He needs a good race because he's gonna have to overtake loads of cars. But yeah, he needs a miracle out there because he's gonna be wide because CC Brain is ahead of him and he could outscore him tonight if Devon's not careful. So a few more rounds to go this championship. Devon needs pretty much a win and podiums to stand in the championship fight because otherwise he'll be out of it.
Yeah, like I say, it's a weird one that with him down in 18th place. I was on board from only for a couple of seconds. He looked very slow in the last corner, which was why I thought it might have been a maybe intentional move. I suppose we'll find out in the race. Perhaps he's planning to do a longer run on the hard tyre or something and try and get to the rain that way. Hope that when it comes, everyone has already had to pit once. Yeah, even down at the bottom, it's not exactly the best strategy. The grid: Kazizzle, Barak, Legend, Mateo, Andrea, Tom, Ricky, Bolin, Frankie, and Louis. They'll start on those mediums. Azzy, Nicolo, CC Brain, Kryptonite, Cohen, Steph, Cameron Dowds, Devon, Jack Humphreys will have free tyre choice.
So, with the threat of rain happening in the race, will we see people outside the top 10 not go for the hard tyres and potentially go for the medium tyres as well, which could last quite a chunk in this race? Even though the game says 17 laps, we do know in the other tiers it could last a lot longer than 17 laps. So we will see what these drivers can do as we head to the changeable condition period. The last time we were at changeable conditions, we were at Zandvoort, and if you do remember, Baraka, he didn't have a good race there, so I think he's probably gutted that there's going to be rain at Singapore because he doesn't want to repeat what happened a few weeks ago.
Give me a clue, by the way. I'm just taking Corner's word for it in the chat. He could be lying to me, but I don't think he is. But yeah, this is potential to be one of the best races of the season. I'm very much looking forward to this for the way this grid is, but it's massive for the championship as well. What is Tom thinking, I wonder, with his teammates that are sitting on pole, whether he can help him out this week or not? We saw last week that some certain teammates from a certain Silver Arrows team just didn't get along with each other, and it's at this stage of the championship where they need to be helping. And I wonder what sort of job Kazizzle can do for his teammates tonight. That's the thing I'll be looking out for.
Yes, I think now it's going to get to a point that if you're not in the championship fight, you've really got to help your teammate out to make sure that they can win the championship. And also, the most important thing is about the constructors as well. Because I know there's a few teams in PSGL F2 that want to win the constructors. They try and go for it every season. And if they don't go for it, and if they don't win, then they're going to be in quite a lot of trouble. So, there we go. So we are about to get underway then with a few seconds to go. The track is 5.063 kilometres, which is quite long, but it's 31 laps that await our drivers tonight. And there is 2 DRS zones, one obviously at the start finish straight, and then we've got one between turn 5 to turn 7, which will see the main overtaking opportunities tonight. So, tyre choices then. I thought people would not go on the hards tonight. Well, I'm proven wrong. We've got Nicolo, we've got CC Brain, Kryptonite, Cohen, we've got Cameron Dowds and Jack on the hards, and we've got obviously everyone in the top 10 on the mediums because they qualified on them. We got Azzy also on the mediums, Steph on the mediums, and Devon on the mediums. Not surprised that Devon's on the mediums because he needs to climb his way up the field. Same with Azzy as well, but I think I'm not surprised by any of the choices at the moment, but I thought more people would have gone for mediums, but we will see as the race goes on. But quite a mixed strategy from people outside the top 10. I'm excited to see how this race is going to go.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see how that goes. So they clearly seem to think on those hard tyres that if the rain is coming, that it won't come for a long time, because they're sort of, I guess, banking on the fact that the medium guys will either just run out of tyres and have to pit, or stick it out too long and be easy pickings. So we will see which is the better strategy. Obviously, no one's on the softs. They are pretty much useless at the moment. Luckily, on next year's game, we will actually get to see proper qualifying sessions for tracks like this, where the tyres just are useless for the race, because you can obviously start on whatever you want, regardless of what you qualify on under 2022's rules. So, not long until we see proper qualifying sessions on this track again, I promise.
Yes, the F122 game comes out July 1st, so it won't be that long before we get to see that. But obviously, a PSGL season takes a long time to plan, and it probably won't get started till around about August, September time. So realistically, the next few months on top of that we will get to wait. But better late than never. I think that should have been a rule last year as well, but that never happened. But at least we get the rule in real life as well, which I think has made some much better racing with the new regs as well. But I wonder if Singapore will be better because of that result as well. So that's taking a long time to get to the grid. I think same with the back of the field as well. But we are about to get started. Let us know your opinions in the chat. Who do you think is going to win this race tonight? Will it be the man starting on pole? Will it be our championship leader? Will Barak get a good run into turn one? He's on the left-hand side of the grid. Will he get the best run? We will see. And the 5 lights are about to go on.
So, Barak then, in the Lewis Hamilton colours, looking for a Singapore Masterclass. Has seen it from the man in that car before. Can it happen again? He's got to beat Kazizel off the line. 5 lights are on here in Singapore. And we are away. Let's see who gets off the line best. Seems Kazizel's got away decently well. He's covered off the Mercedes towards turn 1. Legend tries to look around outside, but doesn't want to risk too much. Tom is already making places on the inside of Andrea. Can he get the move done on his Shazoo teammate? Yes, he can, up into 5th place. A few more moves happening further back. Nicolo, highest runner on the hard tyres, trying to get through into 11th place. We've still got a few more guys going side by side through 5, and on the way through Raffles Boulevard, Frankie and Bolin going for it. Bolin needs to get up the road to try and help out his teammate, and he's doing it now. What a move it is on the inside of the Alpine of Ricky, but it lets Frankie come through on the outside, and there's contact here as he head through 8. And they've got to be careful. Don't want to be blowing it on lap 1. And certainly, if you're Barak, you need your teammate still in this thing.
Yeah, you do. You do need Bone to be up there because he does have the pace. He has shown it in the past in F2s. We've got yellow flags, which I think is the 2 McLarens that have had a bit of an issue at the moment. I think Nicolo has dropped down to last place. So a bit unfortunate there. So Kazizel pulling away from Barak right now as he now tries to get a move done on Louis up to 10th place. The top 10 do score points at PSGL, and I think we're starting to see Louis going for a nice switchback as well. He's hoping for a safety car because he's underfueled the car, whereas Azzy has not underfueled the car. He's hoping for some other things to happen during this race as they all go under the tunnel now for the very first time. All of them keeping it very clean so far, all within one train as well, because Kazizel has got to break DRS in order to make sure he can keep Barak behind him, and he's not doing so at the moment, which shows that Barak really wants to get back in this championship fight somehow, because if he does not, then he's going to lose so many points. Devon now has had the really good start. Actually, he started 18th, he's up into 12th place, so starting on the mediums, that helped.
Yes, it's gotten well up the field. He will be very happy with that. The 2 McLarens already in the pits. I don't think they were actually anywhere near each other, so they might have well have just had separate accidents.
Yeah.
But either way, they're right down at the back, and it's a real shame for them. But well, they can keep going and hope that there's safety cars later on. And as you were saying, it was well spotted that for Louis. I'm surprised he's under fuel by this much, but I suppose if the rain comes, he'll regain that lap and a, 1.15 laps he's got there to make up a fuel. He should be really sort of quick in a straight line, etc. But at what cost, I guess we'll find out. He's currently sitting in P10. It'll be a bit of a DRS strain here for quite a while, I imagine. CC Brain, will he be able to get into that? I suppose that might end up being his only sort of goal, but on these hard compound tires, he may not be able to do that too much at the start. But we'll see if he can do it. We might get overtaken by Steph, of course. He's going up his inside, trying to put him under pressure. That won't help with trying to close the gap either, and indeed you can see it is rising, that gap between CC Brain and Devon.
Yep, it is right now, so it shows that Devon's Mediums is on the pace right now, but it may be towards the end of this stint. The rain may not come, so you may be forced to go on the tyre that you don't necessarily want to get onto as well. So it may be about risk, that the reason why Devon has gone for these medium tyres, but it is paying off so far as DRS is enabled then for the first time in this race then. So if they're within 1 second, they can try and maximise this extra kilometres of speed that they get. Straight line speed, but the only one that's going to benefit from it is Barak, because everyone else behind Barak has got DRS as well. So Legend, Mateo, they're not going to benefit from it right now. They're just going to be sitting ducks right now. I think someone's just going to have to pull the trigger, go for the move, and then everyone else will start going for moves potentially as well. But I think Devon could go for a move very, very soon. He looks so quick. You can tell he's faster than Azir and Louis, but we saw that in the real life race in Imola, a faster car being right behind some slower cars, and they just couldn't get past. So it may be about track position. He could go for a move in a hairpin. He may take advantage of people going wide, but Devon just can't get past. But you can see he's just so eager. He may wait until the next lap potentially as well, but it may be too late at that point. But we'll see.
Yeah, it's difficult being at the back of a DRS train, isn't it? No less one that is 12 cars long. But Devon's just got to sort of stay patient, it's only 10% of the way through the race. A lot of stuff to happen. Inevitably someone will end up on the wall. He will finish in the points today, I imagine. He's not like he's going to end up stuck here all day. But he's just got to be smart with what he's doing. And you can see that DRS is just going to keep going and going and going and going. Steph in the free air, having had DRS earlier in the lap, has set the fastest lap. He had to overtake CC Brain, you'll remember, so that is probably where he's got that from. I don't know if they'll actually be able to beat that time, honestly, when they're all stuck behind each other like this. Let's see if Devon gets himself through on Azzy here. As you can see, there's just no chance for him, is there? Not with the way the DRS is acting there. Nothing he can do about this.
Yeah, it's the same situation for everyone right now. I think we saw the same situation for the likes of Tom as well, trying to get past Mateo. He couldn't quite make it work as well, being around about the same gap as well. I think Frankie is being the one that's most vulnerable in this situation, because he's almost out of DRS to Andreas. So he's got to pick up the pace a little bit, because otherwise there's going to be the likes of 2 DRS trades. We've got a few predictions in the chat. Cornet's predicting Devon on the podium. Well, with the way that he's going, at the moment he's in 12. He's got a lot of work to do, and as you were saying, he's finding it difficult. But you never know, anything can happen in Formula 1. He may pull off a blinder and pit on the inters earlier than everybody else, and it would work. So we will have to wait and see for Devon if he could do that. But at the moment, because this all stayed ahead at the moment, he could be the first person to fall out of DRS to Baraka once again, and that could pretty much for him be the favourite to win this race so far, something that you probably won't be expecting from him due to his form this season right now. Lap 5 out of 31 at the moment. It looks like a procession at the moment, but these guys are just waiting for the rain to come. They don't want it to come now, but ideally they want to come when they're due to pit, ideally on to their next set of tyres, which will probably be around about lap 17 time. If it comes a bit later than that, then they are a bit buggered right now. But we will see. Is anyone going to make a move into the turn 6, turn 7 kink right now? I don't think Devon's going to go for it again because of DRS. No, he is not, even with that extra kilometre speed, as he has it as well. So No one's budging right now, so I think it may just come down to strategy. Who decides who win this one, I think.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long sort of one in terms of the strategy, how it's all gonna pay out. I would say we can keep our eye on the clouds, but of course at night time that's not really gonna help, and it won't help these guys either because it might end up meaning that if any rain is coming, it'll come as a surprise to them, frankly, because Jeff is useless for you in this situation, because he'll be telling the drivers now, rain in 15 minutes, and then he'll ask again in 15 minutes, and he'll say rain in 15 minutes. And then suddenly he'll say rain imminent, and it's just, oh, okay. So they've basically got to drive on their wits here, really, and just sort of let it happen. And if they need to pit for more dries, they'll pit for more dries. But yeah, let's see. Is anyone going to be able to do anything then? Because Baraka keeps falling behind Kazizel, and then since he's not quite fallen back enough to end up outside DRS, he gets to close back up again, and he gets the biggest benefit of DRS. And Legend will be sitting there thinking he's got no chance here of making any ground up. But I think even if you wanted to race, there is the element of just keeping your tires, just in case nothing quite goes to plan in terms of weather. So yeah, we'll see. As we see actually Jack Humphreys into the pit lane. There was a yellow flag. I wonder if it was him that caused it, because there's a front wing out there for the Alfa Romeo driver, and he will fall into that group with the McLarens. In fact, his whole front wing's gone, as Bolin gets himself through on Frankie. Took a while, but has finally got back through. Remember, I was fighting with him on lap 1, and dive-bombed Ricky at 7. That's how Frankie ended up sneaking through, but now Bolin up into 7th. But he has to get back into DRS. Not long to get back into either, because the next detection point is just under the bridge here. He will get it though, so job well done there for the Mercedes driver. No one else really looking at anything for now.
I think Frankie was out of DRS at the time, which did allow the likes of Bone to actually overtake, and now Frankie knew that he was out of DRS. That was his excuse to push, and he's using his ERS at the moment actually, so the pressure is on him, and he's got to make sure he can try and get Bowden once again, because otherwise he will be out of it. Boylan's now got to try and get onto Andrea's DRS now, because otherwise he will fall victim, and Frankie will probably do the same pass as he did a moment ago then. So Bones round about 8 tenths. You can see Andrea's pushing as well. He's got less ERS compared to Bones, so you can understand why he's pushing at the moment as well. He's going to get to a point where they don't have any ERS to use in the race as well, because there are plenty of corners where you can save ERS around this track. A lot more heavier braking zones than obviously Mexico, because Mexico was more high speed compared to Singapore, but that doesn't mean you could use it all the time. You have to learn when to save it, and I think that's what we saw in qualifying as well. A lot of people were derating in the final corner, so I think that could be the issue as well. If people go for the overtake, it's mainly because they have enough ERS to go for that overtake potentially as well. So Ricky's looking quite good on Frankie as well. I wonder if Frankie is struggling there at this moment in time, as I believe we head past turn 9 into Padang. I think that's how you call that corner. And now heading towards the Singapore Sling. And this could be a chance for Ricky actually, which is just not going through turn 11 and 12. And now heading past the bridge here towards turn 13 as Frankie brakes a little early there. And Ricky says, thank you very much. I want to try and get P8 back, but Frankie holds on to his line at the moment. They keep switching positions. This is what a battle should be like, as they starting to set to 3. Almost made a bit of contact there. We also got the Alfa Romeo wanted to join the party as well. Louis gets past Frankie up to 9. I wonder, I think Frankie's just struggling on pace at the moment. I think he's got damage.
He'll have damage now after that contact. He could have just held it back there, because he was always going to be fed into the wall. But he's just fallen through the field now. There has to be front wing damage. It'll be into the pits now as well to change it, and that could be a race ruiner, unfortunately. And I tell you what, Ricky has got a little bit lucky to sort of still get the move done in the end, because he was way too aggressive into the hairpin at the end of the Anderson Bridge. I mean, he could have went way further wide. Luckily, the DRS bailed him out though, because it was a very sort of misjudged move, I think. But he's now going to deal with the fact he's not quite in DRS range, and that'll cost him ERS, and it'll put him into the same situation Frankie was in, where he's no ERS to fight with, and possibly no DRS either, as Devon gets up into the points.
There we go. After starting 18th, he's gained 8 places already, and definitely wants to score higher, but he's 1.7 seconds off of Louis. So, but if Louis and Ricky keep squabbling, then Devon could be allowed to go in this fight as well, and it could be a chain reaction. So at the moment, Devon is doing a pretty decent job. So all it takes is for someone to be out of DRS, Devon to get the move done, and how you press her, and that just shows DRS is a little bit too OP around this track. That's why we're not seeing many overtakes, but Baraka is not being able to get past Cazidor. I think we're seeing exactly the same thing to what we saw to Tom in Mexico. I wonder if Barak is waiting for pretty much the right moment before the rain comes to get the move done, because you don't want to do it now, because Cazidor may do the same thing later on. It'll just keep switching, and the more these guys start fighting, Legend will be in this as well, Mateo will be in this as well, and they could go on and win the race. So I think the top two are doing the right thing there as well, but Legend's got a box seat for this battle as well. If any of those two make a mistake, Legend can breeze past these two and take the win. So still a long way to go of this race, of course. We're only on lap 9, and like the chat was saying, because Izzle was saying in a chat during qualifying, rain is expected 30 minutes into the race. So, but you never know, Jeff could be lying. The game could just say there's no rain, but we will have to wait and see. So I'm trying to think when that's going to come. Probably around about lap 20, I would say the rain would come, which is just on the bubble that the medias will start to die anyway. So that could get very, very spicy. And if Kazizzle's wrong, then he's probably played lies on us.
The problem that these guys in second and third have got is that Kazizzle's not using any ERS right now. So I think, while they may be encouraged by staying close, I do think Kazizzle is the genuinely just quicker driver at the moment. It would need for him to make a mistake, I think, for Barak to take the lead and keep it. He could, in theory, take the lead, but then, you know, Kazizzle will have so much ERS that he could fight back. Now I want to check if Andrea was in DRS. Yes, he was, just about. He used all his ERS to get there. And I'm just saying, he's trying to catch up to Tom. Tom has the same sort of situation as his teammate, where both of them, front and back of the train, for up to 5th, they have the highest ERS between them. And will they have a chance to use it? You know, there's a good chance of a little pincer movement from Kazizzle, but he can't do a massive amount, I suppose, to help Tom get through. But he's put himself in a nice position anyway to help as they head around to start lap 10.
Yes, indeed. As Kazizzle, I'm trying to find out what Kazizzle's best result was. He actually got a win in Austria, and then he hasn't scored many points after that. He's had an 8th place in, no, not 8th place, 4th place, sorry, in Portugal. He had 3 DNFs in a row in Monaco, France, and I'm trying to think, I think that was Hungary round number 5, I believe, and then there was a DNF in Saudi Arabia. Only 2 points in Belgium, no points in Zandvoort and in Mexico. And yeah, he hasn't scored many points at all this season. He's currently in 14th on 26 points, and the majority of those points have come from race victory. So Steph does get past Azzy eventually, and he's up to 11th. So AlphaTauri is going to be an AlphaTauri battle for the points, it seems like, but he's a little bit further away to do so right now. Next, I think that could go for a move. Maybe Cameron's a little bit out of position right now on those halves. We could see a situation in about 5 laps time when the Haas could be the faster tyre than the medium tyre. I think it will definitely be 5 laps, because the mediums are meant to be last 17 laps. So if we see CC Brain capture up to Azzy, then the mediums will be in a lot of trouble. But I don't think Cameron Dowles is enjoying this race, because don't forget, he's had 2 podiums in a row. He could end his streak here tonight, which is a bit unfortunate, but you can't always have good races when you just started your PSGL careers. We got a yellow flag. Is it Jax again? It was Jax. Oh, as he's hit the wall in turn, just in the exit turn there. So that's another front wing gone from the Alfa Romeo. I wonder if he'll park the car in the pits and retire. I won't be surprised if he does, actually, and that will make it a second DNF in a row from him. Not ideal from a man who also was in a championship fight, but I don't think he's going to be after tonight.
Shame to see him in the wall again. And he needs to try and get himself back round, because the last thing he needs is to put it in the wall and put a safety car out. I don't think his teammate would thank him very much, because would bring these hard runners into play a bit more. So yeah, just get it back to the pits. He keeps hitting the wall. It's very nerve-wracking to watch. It's not like he hasn't done this before already, having to come back with no front wing, so he should be used to it by now. But he keeps clarting the wall. And, we know it can bring safety cars out. As a Cohen pits as well. Did he have something to do with Jack's incident, I wonder?
That might have been. I did see a yellow flag in turn 10. I did see the 2 McLarens in that area as well when the yellow flag was waved. So that might have been an issue there as well. And yes, as predicted, Jack is now out of the race. So that's our first retirement of the Singapore Grand Prix in the pits. Luckily, so no safety car. So what a shame for him. I think that confirms that he is out of the championship fight, and I don't think he has a teammate in the championship fight either. So because his teammate is in 8th in the championship, so I think it's just for glory at the moment in these final few races, unless he can get a few wins in a row, which is highly unlikely. But I feel it'll be hard to claw back a 44-point gap in the next 3 races coming up. But strange things would happen, but you've got to have the top 3 not scoring any points. And I know Tom has been scoring points every race, so that's probably not going to happen. But strange things have happened. We'll see. As he has gone off then. No, he hasn't gone off. He's gone in the pits. So that is a bit early. I think he's got damage because there's no way he would have pitted otherwise, because a lot of people are staying into the rain comes. So we'll see if he's got damage. I think they've got a front. Yeah, they've got a front wing waiting for him. So I want to reset the wall somewhere. He's still going though. We got Boland though, going for the move, pass into turn. I think it was turn 7. Yes, it was turn 7, 8. And Andrea is keeping P6 for now, but Boland looking pretty good, still in that trend. I think we're finally starting to see some moves being made, but I think that is because Andrea is dropping out of DRS ever so slightly. But you're seeing the flashing light. He is harvesting and he's derating. So Andrea, I think that is why he's losing so much time, because Boland has got a bit more ERS to use. So Boland's chance to overtake is pretty much soon. He almost got it done earlier, but he hasn't got it quite done now. And I think Ricky could be on a similar situation. Ricky's got more ERS. I'm surprised he hasn't gone for any moves yet.
Maybe just biding his time, waiting to maybe see Andreas get to Boland, because he saw those two fought a little bit aggressively there on the last lap, with Boland ending up off the road at 7. So he'll just sit back and let it happen, and then do something about it later on. But we'll see, as Boland uses his DRS to get himself nice and close to Andrea through turn 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the run through Raffles Boulevard towards 7, he will hope to make the move stick, because I think it's a pretty good chance he'll do it now. It's a long enough DRS stretch, and there's nothing that Andrea can do about it. He's got less ERS, Andrea, as well, so there's pretty much nothing that he can do to defend it, and that's why he hasn't defended it. And Boland can move further up the road. Next car up, Tom. He'll want to be ahead of him for sure, because not only does that help his race, it helps his teammates' championship.
But I think Boland's going to be in a bit of a pickle, because I'm looking at Tom's ERS. He's on pretty much the most ERS out of anyone. He's on 92% and still managing to keep behind the top 4 as well. So I think Tom is just waiting for a chance to go for the move when Matteo gets out of DRS, and then he can use his overtake. He uses ERS at the prime moment. He's not using it in corners, which is great to see. He just used it a little bit on the straight just to keep within that train. That's all you need to do for like a second or so. Or maybe he wasn't meant to use it then, I don't know, as he goes through into sector 3 right now as well. And
done well there.
Yeah.
I think the issue is Andrea is so slow at the minute. And Tom, he has ERS, but he's not going to be able to use that to do anything, is he? Because he's stuck behind a car that's stuck in a train. And so Boland now becomes the next part of that train. And we should see if he can pull away from Andrea or not. Andrea, who does get DRS this time, but has no ERS really on the main straight. Will Ricky be looking at making the move on him soon? Because if he does go for any sort of move, I think that would help Boland to be a second clear. So we'll keep our eye on this one as we head through 5. on those hard runners, they're still not doing really anything. I think CC Brain and Cameron Dodge are the only ones who are still really in contention unless it's a safety car for that hard to medium or wet strategy. So we'll keep our eyes on that, because at some point they've got to start racing some of these guys on mediums as the pit stops continue. We have Frankie and Kryptonite both in. Kryptonite onto mediums. They could get to the end from here if he needs them to. Frankie taking a speeding penalty and a new front wing as well, and that's going to put him right down to the back. Not quite where Cohen is, but it's going to be pretty close.
He's on softs as well, which only lasts 4 laps in optimal tyre temperatures, so he thinks the rain is imminent then. He thinks the rain is imminent, because why would he go on the softs, or did he have no other choice potentially as well? But we shall see as the race continues. Still no sign of any wet weather yet for any of the drivers. I can't see it on any of the halos either as well, so expect it, I think, in the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. But obviously, if there are any jets in the chat, do let us know, keep us informed as well, as Cadiddle starting lap 15 and 31. He leads this race. Baraka in P2, Legend in P3 right now, chasing down the top 2, doing a decent run because he has missed the last. He's missed a lot of races this season, and he is fighting back. That is like he's never left at the moment, but he's still got Matteo chasing him down quite quickly. We've got Tom in 5th position, Bolin in 6th. Andrea is still almost running out of DRS actually, so could Ricky go for the move on Andrea here into turn 7? Andrea could be a sitting duck here right now, but he closed the door, just has enough ERS. They almost touch each other as they head towards turn 8 and 9. Now that was close. Oh, and they both go into a spin. You don't really want to be doing that, my friends. So that's both of their races ruined. They both got, well, Ricky has been left worse for wear there, but you don't really want to be making contact there. All the time, you've got to leave the space, as Falonte says. And Ricky, I literally don't know what any of those two could have done, but what they could have done is they could have left more space.
Well, Ricky lost the rear end. He dived up the inside. Andrea did a fair enough switchback, but it just came down to losing the rear end, and now CC Brains got involved with Andrea too. Obviously, they're racing away. Doesn't look to be any damage visually on Andrea's car. That's probably why we didn't get a safety car, because Ricky's whole front line's gone. So there was a good case for one if both cars got damaged. But yeah, that's the second time I've seen Ricky go for a dive bomb that hasn't quite worked out. This time there wasn't a DRS zone to sort of help bail him out, and unfortunately he's going to have to crawl back to the pits. And well, I'll tell you what, the guy who'll probably be happiest about that is Devon, because he now gets a free shot at Louis, who's well, he's got no car to give him any sort of DRS. So he should be a sitting duck here, and Devon will continue a very impressive run through the field. And he's done all this while staying relatively close to leaders. 2.6 seconds he'd have to catch up after that, and it's not exactly easy to do so, but he's not in Narnia, which is where sometimes you could end up starting this far down. His teammate as well actually done well as the rain starts to fall, so his teammate's up into 9th place as well, which is really good. So the two AlphaTauri did a really nice job here. Cameron Dards and CT Brain are the only guys on the hards. They will hope that this rain lasts a while before it becomes inter, because they want every chance for these mediums to start to fall off.
Yes, and I did say roughly about this time. I did say lap 20, so I wasn't that far off, but I don't do maths right, unluckily, so, but it is set to approximate. But it's not going to be damp yet, but you never know around Singapore. I raced around Singapore where it was raining for quite a bit. I think it was raining for like 7-8 laps before it was intermediate conditions. So for these drivers on the hards, they're definitely going to hope that something similar happens there as well. Let's look at the positions gained from all the drivers right now, as well as Devon, who's gained 10 positions. Stefan Cameron has had good races so far. Same as CC Brain. For everyone from 12th downwards, have just had a mare at the moment. All of those drivers, I believe, have had to make a pit stop, with Frankie and Cohen doing 2 stops, and they'll have to make another one if it's enough for intermediate conditions. And it is coming down thick and fast. You can mainly see it on the halo right now, but not as much on the cameras. But as soon as we see the spray, that will be enough for the intermediate conditions, but I think we could see people near the back take some gambles. CC Brain is in the pits. He's on inters. That is a gamble strategy for the Red Bull, but if one person was to do it, it's CC Brain. He's lower down anyway. He's got nothing to lose. Everyone else has done one stop, and they're a little bit further behind anyway. So, you know, he's got the lead.
Kazizel's in the wall.
Kazizel in the wall.
Kazizel's hit the wall, and he's possibly got away with it. He definitely hit it with his front right part of his wing as the track started to get slippery. No visual damage at the moment, but he is under pressure. DRS is still enabled on this lap. So as they all dash to get to the pits, will there be any swapping for position? Because these guys are starting to run out of grip. You can see the rain is coming down that little bit heavier as Barak uses his DRS but cannot get close to Kazizel. So has he got away then with that mistake in the Aston Martin as they all slide through? Will they all get to the pits? Because I tell you what, this pit lane entry is a very tight one and you're not going to get in there very easily. The track is now, as you say, absolutely soaked. These guys, I think they'd be smart just to hold position, frankly, as Kazizel gets close to the wall again. He's all over the curbs. Not the best strategy, honestly, as the spray starts to fly up. Will Barak try anything on the way into the pits? He'll be hoping that Kazizel comes, and yeah, there he goes, straight into the lead. So, whatever's happened to Kazizel...
He hit the wall again.
I don't think he did. I don't think he did.
He slowed down, though.
Right, no, he's let his teammate through. That's what he's done.
Very clever.
It's the team call there to let his teammate go through. So it's intelligent stuff there actually from him. That's why he slowed it down, because he definitely didn't touch the wall. What this does is it means that he has to stack, but he gets to play the team game, and indeed he did break his front wing when he hit the wall earlier on, which I did suspect he might have done. So yeah, he's played the team game there. Absolutely fair enough. And
because yeah, the right not in the championship, whereas Tom is. So Kazizel, I think, is playing the driver 2 role for the rest of the season, and that just shows that Kazizel is really helping his teammate tonight, and Tom is in 4th.
Although, of course, the one thing that does do is it unfortunately does put Tasmanian Championship rivals straight into the lead of the race. So it is a double-edged sword.
Yep.
But but he, at the very least, he did the right thing in recognising that he would have to let his teammate through so that it didn't stack. It could prove to be a really important thing because it means that Tom doesn't get passed by all the cars that he got passed by, Kazizel, in the pits. So you can see he's 6.2 behind. That 6 seconds can probably be attributed to the front wing, but you can see he would have been behind the likes of Bolin, Dev and Louis anyway. So yeah, he's done the right thing there, and I'm sure Tom will appreciate that.
I wonder if they're in the party together. Well, they are in the same esports team as well, which does help. You do share setups there as well, and they will probably be thinking, what does Tom need to do in order to get past these cars? Because it's going to be very tricky in the wet with no DRS to their disposal anymore, and with the spray coming down thick and fast. Will it go rain even harder, or will it stay as it is? I think potentially it could stay as it is, but you never know with Formula 1. It could get even worse around there, and it's just so treacherous at the moment. CC Brain, even though he was the first person to pit onto the Inters, he potentially stayed where he is in 11th position. That is Frankie making another pit stop, and it's another change of front wing. So his day has gone from bad to worse, but he's not retired though. Fair play. I probably would have done the same thing and retired, but at least he's still going and learning lots of stuff, because even if you are, he's going to get lapped as well by Barat. Yes, he is. And even if you do stay out, you do learn a lot just by being on the track. So it gives you a bit of practice for any wet race as well, because he may have another Singapore race coming up, and Frankie will probably be thinking, I don't want to do the same mistake again. But I think Frankie could hope for a safety car, but I don't think a safety car is going to happen. And plus, he's a lap down, and on this game, unlapped cars, well, lapped cars are not allowed to unlap themselves, which is a feature which I think they should introduce on the new game. I don't think that's going to happen, but we can only hope, can we?
Yeah, we can hope, but this is the same people who have only just realised this year that F1 has the sprint format, so we can't really take much of what they do seriously. Now, has Legend been in the wall, I wonder, or has he just had some sort of mistake? Because he's lost a load of time to Barak, and Mateu's caught up. So obviously Beethoven in second isn't exactly the most sort of important thing in the world anymore because DRS is a non-factor now. I suppose they will be thinking about just making sure to get these things to the end. It's a long way to go on these inters. They will start to wear out as this goes on, unless of course they're looking at going on to full wets at some point. We did have a race here a couple of seasons ago where the rain really came down in the last 2 or 3 laps and the inters became a bit redundant, I think, and it was really did need the full wet, so it can happen around here.
I think it must have been season 28, wasn't it?
I don't remember the exact number. All I remember was it was well, it might have even been dry 1 minute and then suddenly full wet the next. It was just one of those.
Everyone was on the wrong tyre. Everyone was on the wrong tyre, I remember.
Basically, it was everyone was on the wrong tyre and they had to make a very quick decision on what to do. So, yeah, they've got to be on their toes now because this is the type of track where this is quite common.
Yes, and it could change a drop of hat. It could be full wet anytime soon as well. And we know it's not going to dry out because everyone is on the intermediate tyres at the moment. But we can see Black is just doing an amazing job on these inters because I think Legend is just, he's not closing in too much as Ricky gets another time penalty as well as Tom's dropped from Matteo actually as well, which is not happened with a lapped car in front of him as well, as the lapped car luckily gets ghosted. So he can move out of the way very, very quickly, and he won't have the benefit of DRS to catch up even more as well. So I'm trying to think what the gap will be if it stays as it is, because the gap is 11 points right now between Barack and Tom. Tom leading this, by the way, as well. You get 16 points for first place, and you get 8 points for fourth place. So he will be gaining 8 points per act going into the next round, which will be Kota. So it will be, I think, gap down to 3 points. I believe Tom will still be leading the championship, but only by a few points per act. This is what he needed at the moment. I think he's learnt his lesson, hopefully, from Zandvoort. Let's hope he can continue. I think he's relieved that rain didn't start the race. It's here. Cazidle's out. He's hit the wall so many times this race, and he's hit the wall again, and it's our first safety car of the race then, and it will bring everyone else back in contention, apart from obviously the ones who are lapped.
Yeah, fair play though, still at safe because it's a 42 for his teammate. It's a shame his race has ended that way. I don't know if he had help into the wall, but it's definitely him done. So yeah, the field will get to bunch up. I think Louis, he must have made the fuel still. Yeah, well, not quite actually. He's not 0.3, but it'll definitely save it now under the safety car. I think he would have done it anyway in regular conditions. So it's paid dividends for him sitting in P5, and yeah, it's let's actually see who's made the most spots up in this race, because he must be up there. Obviously, Devon is the number 1 with that one with 12 made up. But yeah, Louis up there with 5. Cameron Dowd's up there with 9, Steph on 7, CCB on 3. In fact, it's a rather odd situation. The whole top 10 have gained positions. I don't see all that too often.
No, I think it just gives people a chance to go for crazy moves, but I wonder if we'll see some more spinners, I think, as well, due to people being so close to spray as well. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. I think at the start, the visibility is going to be, I think, even more difficult. So I'm not looking forward to seeing how this is going to go for some of these drivers near the back especially. But I think Barack has just got to hope that there's no carnage anyway, and you can just pull away like no tomorrow and have a clean rest of the race as well. Legend is looking... Has Legend won a race before? Yes, he has. He's won in Hungary, so, which is kind of similar characteristics to this track, but it's kind of not. So he's going to hope to get another win in PSGL. Matteo hasn't won. Tom's obviously won 3, but he still has a chance at the moment. Louis hasn't won yet. Devon hasn't won yet this season because he came from F3 last season. Bolan hasn't won, but he has the pace to do so. Cameron has had a few P2s in a row, yet to win a race. Steph obviously hasn't won a race. CC Brains obviously won a few races in F2 in the past, but hasn't won this season. Was very close. I'm trying to remember which race he was He won in Saudi, yes he did, he won in Saudi. Not on track though, it was decided by the stewards though, but he still won. And apart from that, I don't think anyone else has won a race this season, so we could be on for a season at first, or we could see Baraka take his second win in a row, which will join the club of obviously Tom and Valentine, who've also won 2 races in a row. Obviously Valentine got moved up as Bolan in the pit, same with Louis there.
And Tom, so maybe they're thinking what I'm thinking, with the tyres possibly... Oh, it's full wet. That's what it is. So the rain's going to get heavier. Well. Tom was the highest driver to do this. So if this works, he might be about to get in something to the lead. It's not full wet weather just yet, but, well, they're saving themselves a pit stop for if it does hit this. And we've seen this before, haven't we? With the wrong decisions being made in the wet leading to championships being lost. I wonder if we're going to see that again with Barak sitting at the front. Has he found himself on the wrong tyre here? I mean, it's not even heavy rain yet, so I suppose it's all a preemptive thing. But they've gotta be thinking about it now. I haven't seen the rest do it. I suppose Barak is sort of stuck now with his decision, though.
Yeah, I don't think it's enough for wets yet. We're not seeing any puddles.
That's the thing. They've got 10 laps for this to happen, though. That's what I'm guessing that Tom thinks he in 10 laps will be able to bridge the gap. Problem is, there's nothing that stops these inter runners staying out in the full wet. I mean, it's not like sometimes they can survive in the full wet. They might lose a couple of seconds a lap, but overtaking is not easy here. It's not like we're on, I don't know, Austria or something where you'd be able to easily blast past. And as you say, it's not even raining heavily yet. So I can see Tom's idea here and the others who have pitted. Pit for the wet tyres. Yeah, save a full pit stop when the heavy rain comes. But we'll see if it works. Like I say, we mentioned it before. Season 28, whatever season it was, when the rain did come down very hard in the end, and it was important to be on the right tyre. But yeah, we'll see. But it's a interesting element for this race. If it doesn't work out, then Devon will be pretty happy being ahead of Tom and closing the gap slightly.
Yeah, so I think Devon will be still happy because I think he was one of the drivers to watch today after starting 18. He said he needs a miracle to stay in this fight, and I think tonight will save his bacon, but we still got the safety cars come in, we still got so much action to happen at the moment, and we still got loads of other cars that could get their best result as well. We even got a lapped car in this as well. So the lapped car will have to move out the way very quickly, and the lapped car is going to distract everybody. And out of all of this, Cameron Dow's up to 5th place. So if it's nowhere near full wet conditions towards the end, Cameron could potentially still be on for a podium as well. And I think that was the Special K98 in the chat saying it might just be a mistaken strategy. You never know. It could be, but we don't know at this point in time if it is. But we're not the strategists. Obviously, it's their call in the cockpit on what they can do. They may have their engineers in party, but half of the grid have gone onto the full wets and half are staying out on the inters. Let us know in the chat which do you think is the right strategy. At the moment, it seems to be the right decision to be on the inters, but maybe in a few laps' time I might be wrong, but we'll see. Baraka, I'm expecting the safety car to be in either this lap or next lap, because I think we're just waiting for Cohen to catch up, aren't we? Yeah, Cohen is still catching up to the safety car, the last car on the lead lap.
I mean, I got caught out by this in a league race once. Safety cars on this track last longer than you expect. They always do. And so if you're making a strategy call, a risky one, this is one of the best tracks to do it on, actually, because, these are 3 or 4 laps that Tom would have had to suffer with these wets on, that he's now getting to cruise around with them on. And it's laps that the other guys at the front haven't been able to pull away. And as the safety car gets called in, would you look at that? It's raining heavily. And Tom sits there, now on the right tyre, thinking, okay, good, I've lost nothing here.
There's puddles now.
all I have to do is wait for the track to come to me. And we know how quickly the track went from dry to enter. It'll almost certainly be the same when it goes to full wet. But what Tom's got to do, and it could be crucial for his championship, he's got to make sure he's patient. Because he knows he'll have the best tyres, and he knows that he's basically got this win in the bag. He's got a long way to go in this race. Do not blow it early. If you're Barack, you're feeling that sinking feeling.
Same with the top 7, I believe as well.
Nice. He's got to make sure he goes at the right point here, Baraka. As he comes through the last corner, he's left Mateo behind because of the lapped car situation. Although I thought Mateo was actually ahead of the lap car already of Frankie, so maybe actually they've already just blasted through and left those guys behind as Tom makes the position up already and cuts the corner.
That's a warning.
Careful. He's got to be careful. Got away with it that time, but his patience should hopefully pay off for him as long as he stays there, and we should see him slowly get his way up to the front. I'm sure Barack will just stick with it. Will Barack just stick with the tyres now and just hope he can get to the end? I suppose there's nothing stopping him from doing that, as Frankie just lets everyone through now. But that'll help him out. Cohen, feel a bit bad for him, to be honest. On the right tyres, but 25 seconds off. I think even if they pitted, he may not be able to take all that much advantage out of it, but we'll keep our eye on him. He might sneak a point in, who knows. But Barack continues to lead then from Legend, Mateo, Devon, Cameron, CC Brain and Tom, who's looking to pass all 6 cars in front of him. He has the tyres, but will he have the time and will he have the confidence?
I think he's going to hope that everyone pits, because if everyone pits, then that is probably why he's not going for the overtakes yet, because he doesn't want to do what his teammate do on the change to winters and hit it in the wall. So I think Tom is learning his lesson at the moment. But look at that spray. It is like almost monsoon conditions. The inters are definitely the wrong tyre to be on. They're crawling at the moment. Tom's absolutely flying. If I was on the inters, I would just be worried, because he's passed another intermediate run. He's going to get past Cameron sooner or later as well. And I'm interested to see what Tom's lap times are compared to the intermediate runners. And we'll see what happens. Everyone on the inters are staying out. Well, they've got to, really, haven't they?
They're going to crash, though.
They are.
They've got to be careful.
There's another one for Tom.
They've got to be careful that they keep this on the road now. Okay, I get that they'll lose so much time when they pit, but yeah, just be careful. CC Brain gets hit off by Bolin. He may have that under investigation later on, although I suppose with what the conditions are, what can you do really? As we get a few cars in the pits to retire and a few yellow flags for those cars, as Tom is back to where he started then, back to P4. So the pit stop, he's recovered all that time in just 2 laps. Barack seems to be dealing with the conditions a little bit better, but I mean, he can't be going very fast. He cannot be going very fast. Mateo, all the way back of Legend for 2nd place. I mean, they're crawling round here. Absolutely crawling round. And Tom will just sit back and be careful, because he can have all the confidence in the world, but these inter-runners, they'll be braking early. They'll be slower on traction. He can easily just run to the back of them. He's losing a second here to Barack while he's waiting to get past the Ferrari, who goes up the inside of now. Ricky had an accident here on the last lap trying to get through someone, so he's got to be careful. And he has been, and he's through. Good traction. If he can get through Legend here, then he'll be in the box seat, but he hasn't done so. But Legend, look at that. He can't turn in with the way the conditions are. And so Tom only has 1 car left to pass. If you see Legend still fighting away with Mateo. But here comes Bolin now, trying to get through as well. 2nd place, definitely on the cards for him, unless Libby can get through, in which case it'll be P3. And I would actually say we're getting close to even safety car conditions for the weather alone. It's that heavy, yet there are people out there on intermediate still. It's quite remarkable, this, as Bolin is pushing the Williams through the corner. Look at this. He's forcing his way through, and he can't pit now, the Williams, even if he wanted to. So these guys are stuck on inters later on. The rain must be getting lighter later on. They can't be staying out like this as if the weather isn't going to get lighter. So perhaps the track will come back to them, but for now they're having to deal with the pain, and it is a lot of pain.
Legend's gone. Oh, fuzzy hits for Teo in the turn
Mateo.
2 or 3.
He'll recover that one, Mateo. Just he needs to keep his head there. And not fall too far back because there's still a P10 after him. He'll be a bit frustrated that happened. Hope he hasn't got front wing damage, but yeah. Ugh. The struggles for these Inter, man. But I can only assume these guys are staying up because it's going to get lighter. But then there's some that are pitting, so I just don't know what to think right now. As we watch for the race lead, Tom on Barak for the championship. I'd almost call this, to be honest with you, because this isn't going to be the only guy passing Barak in the next couple of laps unless the rain stops. Will Barak try anything? Has he got anything to try? He will try it and he will block. But I think Tom, he's going to have him on traction. And the race lead will go to the Aston Martin driver. And the championship leader is through. And he's going to extend his lead. And it'll be by quite the distance because his two closest rivals, Barak and Devon, are on the wrong tyre for this moment in the race. Unless this rain clears up, you could almost call Tom champion.
Yeah, because I think the gap will need to be quite some distance in Kota for Tom to be deciding Kota. Bowden now gets past Baraka too, so Baraka's now down to third. Louis on the right tyre as well. Same with Steph. Steph's flown under the radar as well. Kryptonite. Everybody in that top 6 that appeared onto the 4 wets, they're on for a very good result here. And fair play to him. Kryptonite's had some bad luck this season. Steph's just got his first penalty. He's not going to drop that much though, because everyone else is on the wrong tyre behind him, obviously apart from Cohen. I don't think Cohen's that close enough to get the points, but you never know with how slow these Inters are.
He'll get some points again, unless something goes wrong with the weather and it dries up, but he's actually making the ground up. I gotta say, we mentioned before this race started about controversies. I'm sure the one controversy that everyone remembers about this track is that time Nelson Piquet stacked it on purpose and his teammate won the race. How ironic that it's Pizzizzel's accident which has caused all this for Tom. Wow. I'm not calling it deliberate, I'm just saying the parallels are there. That's all I'm saying, because look at how this has turned out. It's the ultimate team play here by letting him through into the pits to pit first, and then the crash has brought the safety car out, which is slightly, probably unintentionally, led to this. I mean, oh, the parallels.
I only just realised that the parallels were pretty much there, apart from that they're not in the Renaults or the Alpines, are there? Then the Aston Martins, otherwise it would have been true parallels. But there we go. As you can already see, Tom is a class ahead of Bowden right now on these 4 wets, and with only a few laps to go. He could be on course, be getting his, I'm trying to, is it 4th win in a row? That'll be insane. I don't think anyone has done that in a while. I think the last time I saw that in F2 was season 26 with Rafa, and then he either left or got promoted. I can't remember. I think he left the league, I think, at that point, which made the racing more interesting, as Kryptonite now gets past Baraka. He's got no penalties, though. So
look at Cohen. He's gained, what, 8 seconds in a lap, something like that, because these 4 are fighting too hard.
Ooh.
And Devon's the one in the middle of all this, and he's got to be so careful that he doesn't throw anything away here, because there are still a few points on the line, potentially. Oh, Cohen will be hitting. There's a P7 in this, as long as he just gets himself through. And it just shows how hard these Inter drivers are finding it. Barak's going to have to deal with this, because Andrea, Nicolo, CC Brain, if that's how quick Cohen can catch them, then Barak... Is there a risk that Barak, in these 4 laps, won't even get into the points here? He's 6th right now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these wet runners who realistically might have a chance of catching. 4 laps around here are very, very long indeed.
Especially in the 4 wets.
Barak badly now needs this rain to stop, or at least get lighter, because It could be bad. The only thing that's good for him is he hasn't got any penalties. That might help. But yeah, as I say that, look what's happened. The rain's gotten lighter. So
there you go then.
Perhaps. Well, the thing is though, will the tables turn? Because this is what I've said. 4 laps is a long time on a wet track here. And let's see, the gap that Tom has pulled is 20 seconds. But now Barak might be able to pull the reverse. I mean, it's not exactly light rain though, is it? It's lighter, but Cone is still catching. So he needs a rain to get lighter than even this to try and do anything. But surely he'll start to close a little bit. But no, the wet runners are still quicker. So, what do you do? What do you do if you're Barak? He must be hating every second of this.
He must be hating he's on the wrong tire. That's probably why the intermediate runners stayed out, because they know it was going to get lighter. I think there's less puddles forming as well, but there's certain parts of the track where it's chucking it down, but there's certain parts of the track where it's light.
Yeah, it was light on the far side of the track, sort of in the middle sector sort of area, but in the third sector it's still heavier. It's an interesting one, this. It needs to stop everywhere, because right now this actually is just flat out way too wet.
Yes.
There was a little moment where it did look lighter, but it just isn't actually. By the way, the fight for the win is far from over, because Bolin, I mean, I'm sure Barak has some sort of communication with him. He'll be begging for him to get Tom, and well, he's somewhat close to him. And this scrap happening in the first sector, Legend is probably having the most entertaining end to a race of his life. Look at this. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars all fighting behind him. And he's just waiting for the chance as Mateo gets half spun. And all these wet runs are going to be coming through. And, well, Cohen, he's now caught up to Barak. And he's going to be bringing a further 3 drivers on the wets with him. Oh, Barak. Oh, will he be able to hold on? All this has happened in just 1 lap since the last time we were checking the times. It is genuinely about 8 seconds as CC Brain sends Legend off for a half spin and gets himself through. Azzy is going to go through as well, so it will be a sea of blue coming through as Barak on the green tyre on the intermediate. It's the wrong one. Will he be able to hold on to the points? If he doesn't, it will surely be a potential championship winning moment for Tom, that pit stop. You just cannot predict what's going to happen next here. Is he going to stay in the points? Because every point's going to matter here. Every single one of them.
If Baraka doesn't score, the championship could be decided in Kota next week, or even the following week as well. So I think Baraka, he just made his bed and lied it, unfortunately, because I'm almost certain that Andrea's going to get past him as well. I think he's going to get some points, because there are some elements of the track where Barak is faster, but I don't know.
It could fall away really quickly. It could fall away so quickly. I think you're right that he might have a chance at it, but these inters mustn't have very good temperature or anything at this point. I mean, there'll be nothing hell with him. I suppose there'll be a point now where you could have said there was a chance to pit, even after he realised it was the wrong decision to stay out, and he didn't. He's now lost 35 seconds to Tom.
And he's passed by Andrea now.
And Tom had to catch about 10 seconds to him in the first place. So it's about 40 to 45 second loss. Should he have just pitted for wet anyway? I suppose that's the question that'll be going through his mind. Because he's now got a lap and a half to go. And he's got a whole 7 second gap. It just isn't going to happen. Cone's 8 seconds down the road. So I think he's going to lose the point.
You may be right here.
Unless Azzy makes some sort of mistake. What's his penalty? Is it just a 3? It's just a 3. That might not be enough to get through. We'll see.
But even Azzy's catching up to CC Brain as well, so he's not doing that bad.
Yeah, it's either going to be 1 point or no points. It's either going to be, as long as Tom doesn't have any issues on the final lap, it's either going to be a 26 or a 27 point gap in the championship. And that is a pretty handy gap indeed.
Who has got fastest lap? Oh, it's Frankie, and he's retired, so...
Yeah, Frankie's retired. He's left the session as well. He's not going to see how this one ends. As again, I'm trying to see if the rain's getting a bit lighter. I think it actually is this time. So Nicola was the first one to catch Barak. this could be the weather gods helping him a little bit here, but he's still slower as Nicolo comes through. But the rain's definitely nice transition to Inter as we see Nicolo coming through on the inside. And Bolin is having one last try here to get onto the back of Tom. Is there any way of coming through? Because if this is Inter, which it is quickly becoming now, these wets will start to lose the grip, start to lose the traction. Who's going to lose their grip first? Will Tom get caught out by a break into? Because it's going to be, the rain's going to have stopped by the end of that. We've almost got a dry line appearing in parts of the track. So these guys on the wets have really got to be careful right now as they tiptoe their way through the last sector in what could be a title-defining race here in PSGL F2. Tom just has to survive, and Bolin, he knows that he'd be helping his teammate a great deal if he can just find a way through. Only a few corners to go now. Low grip out here for these guys, and Bolin pushing it. Can't quite find any way through. He's hitting the wall. He's doing all sorts. Baraka's fallen to 10th place now as we see Tom coming through the final corner. What a crucial victory this is for his championship. Bolin comes through second, Louis third. But how about Barak? He's falling down to 11th place. As long as he doesn't lose the 3 seconds to Azzy, he will score 1 point. And it will leave the championship gap at 26. Or not, yeah, I'll leave it at 26. Steph has come through in P4. Kryptonite 5th, and then we'll see Cone come through in 6th as Azzy nearly hits the wall. As you can see, he's losing the grip as well because the rain has nearly stopped. So Cohen in 6th place. Andrea will come through just about in 7th. Nicolo will end up 6th, I should say. Yeah, sorry. Cohen did have a 6-second penalty. Nicolo will come through 8th. CC Brain 9th, and Barak will get 1 point. Azzy, the one who just misses out. It may not matter, that 1 point, but the fact that he's got it, it might come down to it. You just never know. If Tom has some sort of issue at any point in the next 3 races, and the 16 points get recovered with a race win for Barak, you know, it could happen. But well, like I said it to Tom himself, I think last week. If you get a good result here, you could be championship favourite. He didn't want to call himself championship favourite.
I remember him saying last week, I think that.
I don't think you can look past him now. I will ask him again later on. I don't think this is going to be disputed. I don't think he'll get shuffled up to the F1 tier either by then. I know Connor likes to do that with our F2 drivers.
That's a bit too late to do that, though.
Yeah, I think he'll be very much locked down here this time. He's not going to get Valentined out of here. So I would say we're looking at our favourite for the F2 championship, but anything can happen in the last 3 races. I mean, we saw how quickly this one turned on its head.
I believe the gap needed by the end of next week will be 34 points. So if Tom outscores Barak by, say, I need to do the maths here, by 10 points, I would say 8 points, he will be champion.
So what's that? A win and Barak in 4th, and that would do it. That's not even that unrealistic, considering he's won 4 in a row. Considering he's won 4 in a row now, who says he can't go win the next one?
Yeah, so it could be decided next week, but we will see. Hopefully for our sakes it won't, and we could have a cracker championship finale. But here are your results then. Tom leads the championship and wins the 4th race in a row for him, his 5th podium. Bolin in 2nd, Louis in 3rd. A great result for him. Every time he starts a race at the moment, he seems to be on the podium. So I think he should keep up that stat. And we got Steph, Kryptonite, Andrea, Cohen, Nicolo had a good race as well. Both McLarens recovering to finish in the points just by being on the right tyre. CC Brahim and Barat are your final point scorers. And then there is everybody else with 2 DNFs. Oh, actually, no. Was it 3 DNFs? I think it might have been 3 DNFs actually because of Frankie as well. But what an ending it has been. I think there was only a few people on the right tyre, and the ones that were on the 4 wets, it paid off. If there was another safety car, maybe the intermediate runners will be back in it, but obviously not. But yeah, I think Barak needs to win. He needs to win the last few races in order to stand a chance, I think. But he got close today, but I think, like we were saying earlier, I did say it will come down to strategy, and it did.
Yeah, and it was a strategy that I don't think any of the drivers could have predicted coming in. I think, honestly, if the safety car hadn't come out there, I don't think any of them would have been pitting for the wet tyres that early. And so it's a strategy that they really had to think on their feet for today. And, well, I think as Tom has said himself in the chat, the guys who had to pit, they had the biggest balls to do so, because that's not something many people would do. It really isn't. And so it is a strategy masterclass that today.
Well, to be honest, I wouldn't have done it because Jeff probably would have told me all the engines were still the right tyres, but knowing how long the safety car is, I think that was probably the right decision anyway. Hopefully we'll get the drivers in for interviews, hopefully, because we want to hear the drivers' thoughts. In particular, the top three were all on wet tyres. We want to hear their thinking on it as well, and you can tell that Tom is very happy and relieved that he's chosen the right strategy as well. We go to Kota next week, another track that I absolutely like on this game as well, but a track that can reward people who have little penalties as well. But I don't think we're going to hear from Louis or Bolan, but hopefully we can hear from Tom. And here he is. I almost dragged him in the wrong commentary box. That wouldn't have been ideal there. But Tom, can you hear us?
Hello?
Tom, can you hear us?
Yeah, hello?
Tom, you must have been under a lot of pressure there when you pitted onto the full wets there. Congratulations on a fourth win in a row. It all came down to strategy, didn't it? But did you think you were on the right one to begin with?
Well, initially, I was like, oh yes, I could be in for the, go with strategy, yeah. And then Jeff, because the puddles were appearing and Jeff wasn't saying anything about the weather. But then all of a sudden, Jeff was saying that the rain was going to get lighter over the next 15 minutes, which was clearly a complete lie. But yeah, I got quite nervous that it wasn't going to work. I was close to coming back in for inters until I realised that they were so much quicker, the wets. And yeah, thank God for that. It was a crucial race for the championship. Barak had good pace, obviously, but strategy just came down to balls, and I went for it, and he didn't.
Yes, if it was just intermediate tyre running for the rest of the race, realistically, where would you would have been and where would you would have finished?
Well, if no one hit a wall and got damage or got a pen, at least you would have finished exactly where I was, P4 or something, because I was just impossible to overtake.
Fair enough. I think that would have still been a good result. I think you would have been still leading the championship by 3 points instead of the 26 point advantage you've got now as well. And did you have any thoughts that the guys on the Indies were going to catch up again when the rain was lighter, or as soon as the final few laps came down, did you knew you were going to win?
Well, once I caught up to Baraka, I was like, well, when I was catching up to everyone on the Inters, I was trying to get past as quick as possible because I knew Jeff was saying it was going to get lighter and they were probably going to catch back up to the end. But once I got past Barak and the gap was 3 seconds almost instantly, I sort of knew that there was no coming back from that, and it was just going to be between me and Bolan, and I wasn't pushing at all, just scared that I was going to hit a barrier or get a pen. I just knew that once he got behind me, he wasn't going to overtake me anyway because it's wet Singapore, so yeah.
Okay then, Owen, any questions for our 4-time race winner this season?
Yeah, 4 wins in a row. You're getting a bit used to this now. And I got to ask, how important is it to have a teammate as good as Kazizel was? Because he did quite a lot to help today, especially with the pit stop for Inters when he slowed down to make sure that you didn't stack in the box. How important is the communication between you two in races like this?
Yeah, honestly, massive shout out to Kazizel. I actually love him. That is the definition of a perfect teammate. He was winning the race, got damage. Obviously, he was, and the first thing he did was be extremely kind and let me through so that I didn't have to stack with this wing change. Massive shout out to him, and also The pit stop for Inters, I think he calls a safety car. Or no, the pit for Wets, I think he calls a safety car. So I guess without that, I wouldn't have won either. So yeah, because he's always a big part of my race win today, and big shout out to him. Unlucky on the damage as well.
So, 3 races to go then. You've got the 26-point lead. I asked you this last week. You wouldn't really answer me. Do you reckon your favourite now?
Go on.
Go on, just say it.
I mean, this form has to come to an end soon, but 26 points is a massive gap. So I think I'm the favourite, but I'm not going to tell myself that. Otherwise, I'll put more pressure on.
That is a good idea, to be fair. So I was going to say something then, but I won't put any more pressure on you. So, out of the final few races then, what would you say is your biggest chance of getting maybe another win, another podium, and when do you think would be the best chance of wrapping up the title?
Well, if I'm being honest, USA next week's probably my strongest track out of the last 3. Imola's not too bad. It's a pretty average. I'm not sure how Baraka is around there, but I know in Bahrain, Baraka's definitely faster than me there. We raced each other at the start of the game, I remember, and he beat me. And well, Bahrain's probably one of my weaker circuits, so if it gets close, it's going to be a hard finale if we are close on points, but hopefully I can secure the championship before then.
Well, fingers crossed you're able to pull up a fight with Barak as well, and congratulations on another win as well, and we will let you go and celebrate an unexpected win by looks of things. We didn't think you were going to get the win tonight, but with that strategy it paid off for you, so well done, Tom, the race winner from Singapore.
Thank you, Jess.
No problem, and that wraps up the PSGL F2 stream after pretty much over an hour of racing, believe it or not. That's how long Singapore is around here. Any final words, Owen, before we wrap up the stream?
Well, I think we sort of know where this championship's going now, but if we had a race as crazy as that one today where it flipped on its head, it can happen again. And we've seen it in real life where championships have fallen apart from this point. I don't personally think it will, but I don't have a crystal ball. I can't really tell you. So, you got to be here to find out.
Yes, same time next week, 7 PM UK time. And if you want to find out the tracks that we've got remaining for PSGL PSF2, we've got Kota, as we were saying, next week. Then after that, we've got a break week, and then we'll be back on the 16th of May for Imola. And then we wrap up the season finale on the 23rd of May at Bahrain. So those are your final 3 races of the season. We had 12 cracking races already. I'm sure the 13th is going to be amazing as well. Thank you to our sponsor, Grid Rival. You can join their F1 2020 Fantasy League by going on to the link in the description, premiersimgl.com/Grid Rival. Thank you to everyone that is watching. If you liked the video, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell if you are new. Also follow us on Instagram and Twitter. All of our handles is at premiersimgl. Follow us both on Twitter as well, which you can find out in one of our tweets. Thank you all for listening. Make sure you watch the F1 stream, which is live right now. I believe they're in the middle of their race, so check it out. I think they're not even at double digits yet. That's how long it is. So enjoy the rest of the PSGL races tonight. We will go and have a rest now after that crazy race. See you next week, same time at 7 o'clock for the United States Grand Prix. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.